And we are live. Hello, it's Bill, the knee pain guru. Today is Friday, July 16th, 2021. We are going to, we're going to talk about knee replacement, manipulation under anesthesia, scar tissue, and limited flexion. Sounds like a pretty crazy situation, but we're going to talk about it today. The question was written in by Lori. This was on the kneepainguru.com website. Lori writes, had a total knee replacement 7 years ago after a severe infection. A month later, I had a manipulation under anesthesia, also known as MUA. A year and a half later, my doctor went back to remove scar tissue. But my leg is straight, but I have very limited flexion. Flexion would mean getting the heel to the butt, and constant pain. Can I still break through scar tissue to regain flexibility? And my belief is absolutely. Generally what happens, and this is when the body experiences a trauma like the infection, a trauma like the total knee replacement, trauma like was what was going on to the knee leading up to the knee replacement, all of that affects the neurology of the body in a way. Our body responds, our nervous system responds to the experience. The pain, the discomfort, the difficulty sleeping, all of that, the body responds in a certain way. It causes it to tense up. Then what happens is the body will create scar tissue as a way to protect the knee from getting injured further. That's how the body heals. That's how the body functions. The problem is, how do we get on the other side of the scar tissue, the other side of the pain, the other side of the discomfort when we're creating pain in order to do so, which is going to be your conventional exercise or physical therapy. How do you, when you start out in pain, how do you push through pain and get out of pain? Like, it doesn't make sense. From a fundamental level, from a logical level, we have to begin calming down the nervous system. And that's kind of the idea from a conventional medical model approach in terms of numbing the pain with prescription drugs, pain-killing shots. However, your body is much smarter than that. Your body has an infinite capacity to heal itself if given the right conditions to do so. What does that look like? That looks like getting the pressure off of the nerves in the knee that are causing the pain. So in Lori's situation, she has this limited flexion, ability to bend her knee. How that would work, how that would function would be beginning to work with the intrinsic movement of the joint. Intrinsic meaning the subtle, fine motor movements of the joint. Gross motor movement of the joint, the knee extends, the knee bends. Makes sense. Everybody knows how the knee works from a gross motor movement perspective. What most people don't know how the knee works is the little fine intrinsic movements, like little rotation, little forward and back, little side to side, little apart and together, and tilting. And what happens is when the body tenses up to protect itself, it loses that intrinsic movement, which means it's more difficult to twist and get out of bed. It's more difficult to rise up out of a car. It's more difficult to push off and reach back and grab something, because of the intrinsic movement of where the body's holding tension. So we begin to work with that intrinsic movement, and it shifts the neurology in the knee in a way where it relaxes the tension in the joint. Well, what happens when a joint relaxes? You increase the range of motion, but it's a different range of motion. It's a comfortable range of motion. It's not the range of motion that is the anatomical range of motion. Most people get, even the medical model doesn't even understand the concept of the comfortable range of motion. Comfortable range of motion is the degree that the knee can bend before it causes pain. Most people want to get the anatomical range of motion, which is the full extension and full flexion of the knee, which is our goal. However, we have to begin to baby step it. Eat a whole elephant one bite at a time. So in order for you to get full anatomical range of motion in the joint back, which in Lori's case is going to be limited because of the knee replacement surgery, we're going to be inhibited by the knee replacement as far as how much the knee is going to be able to bend. So we begin working with the comfortable range of motion in the knee joint, changing the neurological signaling, working with the intrinsic movement of the joint. And what ends up happening is she starts to bend her knee a little bit more. Well, that little subtle, comfortable range of motion increase makes it easier for the knee joint to break down the scar tissue. And we wash, rinse, repeat. Thank you for whoever gave the video a thumbs up. Make sure to give the video a thumbs up, like and subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications for future videos. Share the video with your friends, your family, your loved ones that limp. They'll thank you, maybe. Okay, so if, by the way, if you do have questions, please enter those in the comments section. I'll be happy to address those. So what have we talked about today? We've talked about working with the intrinsic movement of the joint to relax the neurological tension patterns that are causing the knee to lock, to be tight, to not have the full anatomical range of motion. We've talked about working with the intrinsic movement of the joint. We've talked about the difference between the comfortable range of motion and the anatomical range of motion in the knee joint. That's very crucial. That the more we increase the comfortable range of motion, the more the knee is able to break down the scar tissue itself, just with your normal natural movement, and it increases the ability of the comfortable range of motion to match the anatomical range of motion. This is key. If we have to force the knee joint and cause the knee joint pain in order to access the anatomical range of motion, it causes the nervous system on a certain level to tense up to protect itself. That's like driving your car with your foot on the gas and your foot on the brake at the same time. It's not going to go very far. It's not going to be very easy, and you're going to burn up the car. This is the same thing what happens when we try to force the knee joint to increase the range of motion when it hurts. So, okay, let me see. No questions here. What you can do next, if you'd like to, and all of this information that I'm going to share is in the description below of the video, or maybe above, depending on what social media platform you'll see it on. So, action steps. What can you do right now to start helping your situation out with your knee? First is you can head on over to the kneepainguru.com website, get on my newsletter list, send out emails each day to help shift your mindset on how to approach your knee differently. That is step number one. Step number two, you can set up a time for a consultation. That's where we talk about your knee and we figure out a strategy to begin taking in the information you have. Just got off the phone with a client, new client, and they're very flustered, confused, frustrated, feel like that they're in the end of their rope because they don't know what to do, how to do it, when to do it, what order to do it in. And none of it seems to make any difference. So that's where we sort through all of that craziness that's going on in your brain and figure out the next 3 baby steps, action steps that you can take today, right now, that's going to make the biggest difference in your knee. So we can figure that out in the context of a strategy session. And then the last is knee club. First rule of knee club. Don't talk about knee club. So Knee Club is a group coaching call. We meet twice a week in a group live Zoom room, and you ask questions, and I ask you questions, and we figure out how to zero in on to get to relief in your knee today and outline those baby steps, give you specific videos to work on that are going to make the biggest difference with your knee today. You can do it in the comfort of your own home. The client that I was just working with, she was frustrated because she had a 2-hour drive one way and then back, and her knee was stiffening up. So I gave her specific pain pattern interrupts to work on in the car. She didn't even think about doing them. Things that you can do in the car to relieve the pain, to relieve the tension, to make it easier and speed up the body's recovery from what's going on with the knee. So that's what I got as far as talking about knee replacements, manipulation under anesthesia, scar tissue, and limited flexion. Okay, no questions have come in. Thank you for the likes and the love. Appreciate that very much. Pain can be sometimes a rough business to help people in. They tend to be kind of cranky. So, oh well, I do what I can. Okay. This is Bill Paravano, the Knee Pain Guru. Thanking you so much for being here. Have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you Monday on the next video. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.